Hey everybody, it's Jillian Cosplay, and I'm here today to be on the other side of the interviewing video today to interview Jillian Ratliff.
Hi!
Jillian is an artist, a stand-up comedian, a graphic novelist, a scientist, and a shaman. She draws the webcomic George the Fear Monster, which you can find on fearmonster.org. And is also working on her first graphic novel entitled From Victim to Victory. So, Jillian, to start off the questions, what made you want to write a book?
Well, I've been working on the book probably for about 4 years now. When I first came up with the idea of George the Fear Monster, it was kind of an accident, actually. I was talking to my friend Maston Kip, and came up with this goofy idea to give my fear a name. And so I call him George. And over the years, he's evolved into his own completely different character, which gives the psychologists a lot to work with, that I've given myself multiple personalities on purpose. But it's really actually extremely helpful for me to be able to differentiate the voice of George, the fear, versus the voice of my heart, which usually knows what it's talking about more often. And so it's just a tool for me to be able to help not listen so much to my own fear. And so I started writing a book about it years ago, started off kind of self-helpy in nature, and then it's eventually evolved into a comic book, because once I drew George, a couple years ago I started drawing George as a comic, and once I drew him, a lot of people started to understand why I thought he was so funny. At first, I think people just thought I was nuts, and then they saw George, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So, yeah, it's just evolved over the years into a comic book.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen your drawings, and they're actually really cool.
Thanks.
So, so you'd say, so you started off as an graphic novel, and then you kind of went into that format over time?
Yeah, I've rewritten the thing a few times, and I went to Bali last year with a group of writers to give it another rewrite, and I, for some reason, just decided to write it as a graphic novel because I like graphic novels so much, and especially the work of Alan Moore. I've been highly influenced by him because I think he says a lot of really smart things in his comic books. Yeah. So that's what I'm going for. There's a lot of smart things hidden within the comedy and all the pictures.
Nice. So as far as the title, Love Always Wins, why that title?
Well, that's the title of the whole series. Much like Harry Potter is the title of the whole series of books. But I've just found in my life that things tend to go better when I'm motivated by love instead of fear. So for me, it's like the light versus the dark side of the force. So the light side of the force, love, tends to just work out better.
Yeah, totally. I agree. So speaking of that, of the other part of the title, so From Victim to Victory, without giving away the book, how would you describe how that statement fits into your life?
Well, that's a long story, which is why I wrote a whole book about it. But from being a victim is sometimes not a choice, I think. There's a lot of crazy people in this world, and there's a lot of good people, but there's a handful of bad ones. And sometimes it's not a choice whether or not you're a victim of your circumstances, but staying in that state is a choice. And for me, my biggest weapon against the bad things that happen to me in my life is my sense of humor. So that's one of my superpowers, is to be able to laugh at things. And if I didn't have a sense of humor, I'd go crazy, And so, what?
That's a good superpower to have.
It is. It's a hard one, but it helps a lot. And so when things go wrong, I just start cracking jokes and can usually just make myself laugh about it. And then George gets involved and makes me actually deal with the problems. He's useful sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think of when you say the words real life superhero?
Well, I have a lot of real life superheroes in my life. Dated a couple of Marines. They're real life superheroes. I think all of our military members, really, just anybody that is willing to put their life on the line for the sake of somebody else, superhero. And so the cops, the police officers, I consider superheroes as well. It's kind of the same thing. They put their life on the line every day. And when all of the protests and things were happening in Baltimore, I just thought, well, that's not right. You know, there's a few bad apples, no doubt, but I think that it's a really underappreciated job. So military members and police officers I consider real-life superheroes, but I think anybody can be a real-life superhero, and my definition of it is really just someone who stands back up every time they get beaten down by life, and especially those who have been hurt, have had their heart broken multiple times, like we all have, you know, and then choose to love anyway. I'm like, oh, that's a superpower. Yeah. So, does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So along those lines, do you have a superhero name, or you talked about some powers, but...
Yes. Well, I call her Ra, the sun goddess. She's based on the Egyptian god, and a lot of people have asked me why she's female, because Ra was traditionally considered a male god. And I said, yeah, I know. But we live in a time where feminine empowerment is really becoming a big deal, and a lot of those traditional gender roles are somewhat being reversed. There's, you know, stay-at-home dads and career women, and there's really no traditional gender roles anymore. Right. So I've based her off of a male sun god, kind of on purpose, and also because I'm shiny, and I think that's one of my superpowers too. So I'm nice and shiny, and I like to give light to the people around me. And, you know, I work for the light side of the force. Sun goddess. And funnily enough, I actually know a guy named Isis. And I don't know if you're familiar, but Isis was a female goddess in Egyptian mythology. And I actually know a dude named Isis who was with me during a very difficult time. And I'm like, well, if Isis can be a guy, then Ra can be a girl. And boom, there you go.
The reason I know some of that is from Stargate SG-1.
Yes. I love Stargate. However, in the movie Stargate, Ra is nothing like that in my book. Ra in the movie was a little bitch. He was just a whiny little spoiled brat, and my Ra is nothing like that.
So, as far as your costume, you want to tell us about that, and/or like stand up and model it a little bit, or?
Oh, yes, I'm actually not wearing the skirt, but this is my superhero logo. It's an Ankh.
Awesome.
So in Egyptian mythology, it's the symbol of eternal life. And I've done a lot of studying, actually. And in Egyptian mythology, it's called an Ankh, or the key of the Nile. And in the Bible, they refer to it as the key of David. Same thing. And it says in the Bible that what this key opens, no man can close. And that's the way my heart works. So once I love somebody, I love them forever, which is annoying. It's like, some people just, you know, I love them, but they piss me off. I'm like, why are you being such a... Anyway, that's not important.
But it's true. I mean, that's just how life is.
Yeah, it is. And so for me, it's the symbol of my heart, which is why I wear it over my heart chakra. And it's something that, you know, once I open that door, it's always open. So that's how awesome. I chose that symbol.
Did you make the costume?
I did. Yep. I at first tried to embroider my symbol onto the shirt, and that was taking way too long. So I did things the easy route and just got the iron-on fabric. I also have a mask and some cool boots that I ordered from Amazon, and I figured for this.
And they can, you know, our viewers can actually go watch the video and see the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole costume, but it's yellow and black. because I love Silk Spectre from Watchmen. It's hot. You know, I'm not quite that hot, but I try. I'm working out. Oh, and then I don't know if you can see, but it's 2 colors on my hoodie here.
Oh, awesome.
That's from the Dogma Angels. Remember the Dogma Angel jackets? How they had the hoodie with the cool like color on the end?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I got that idea.
That's cool. Everything's like symbolism for you.
Yes, very much so. Oh, and my bracers. I was gonna make like cool Warbler bracelets, and then I found these bracelets. I don't know if you can see. I'll try to zoom in. But at Michael's, they say faith and hope on this hand.
Awesome.
And this one, it says love. And then my watch, that's always correct, that says now. It's my reminder to be present. But faith, hope, and love, those are my bracers.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah, a little symbolism there, too.
Yeah. So, have you ever cosplayed before this? Like, I consider this is definitely a cosplay here, too. I mean, you have a lot more going on besides the cosplay, like with the book and the video you made and all the stuff that you did that we'll talk about in a little bit here. But yeah, have you ever cosplayed before this?
Not outside of Halloween. But I've always liked dressing up in Halloween, and I have been looking back on some of my old costumes, and they're all very representative of who I am.
Oh, really?
So, one year I was a ninja, because I'm a hacker, too. So it's how we refer to ourselves, as ninjas. They're really good ones. And one year I dressed up as Andy Kaufman, which was interesting. I'm one of those weird backwards girls. Like, I don't slut myself up for Halloween. In this case, I covered myself in oil and put it. You know, do you remember Taxi? That TV show from like the 70s. But
okay. I don't think I ever saw it.
Played this goofy foreign man mechanic guy. So his name was Latka. But I freaking love Andy Kaufman. I think he was a genius. And so I dressed up as Latka one year, and I was wearing like a jumpsuit covered in oil. I penciled in a unibrow and put on a wig. I was like the least attractive girl there. So found myself a date somehow, but you know, it was really fun. So I tend to express myself through my costumes. Oh, and one more. When I was a kid, I told my mother I wanted to be the fairy godmother from Cinderella. Because she had all the power, but still got to wear the pretty dress. And I was like, that's
true.
Sounds like me. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Do you see yourself cosplaying in the future?
Oh, for sure. Especially after this last weekend at Comic-Con. I'm really impressed with some of the costumes. And I gotta do a Doctor Who costume. I really relate to River Song a lot.
Oh,
and
okay.
When my hair is curly, I can look like River Song, get like a banana gun, you know.
Yeah, totally.
So I definitely want to do more when I have the financial freedom to do so.
Totally. That's kind of how cosplay is for all of us, too.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, so you said San Diego Comic-Con. So what all went down? What was your plan, and how did that go, and how did that all go down?
How things work usually in my life is the plan is there is no plan. It totally worked out at the last minute. So I have a friend of mine who was on a panel. She was on Babylon 5. So I don't know if you know who Patricia Tellman is, but I'm just going to name drop in there because I'm in LA now. It's what we do. I don't know. But she ended up giving me a pass at the very last minute. And I was like, yes, I want to go. That would be awesome. So I scurried on down there. And just, you know, my Aunt Lynn helped me find a place to stay. It was awesome. And anyway, so I got there and applied for a job first. I'm broke. But they had portfolio reviews. So I did that. And then I went to a lot of panels and met some great people. And my favorite thing that happened was that I met John Barrowman's agent.
Ooh,
and oh my gosh, it was just a total accident. I was just sitting there waiting for the John Barrowman panel. And for those watching who don't know who he is, he was Captain Jack Harkness in Doctor Who. Oh my gosh. And I was so excited. I was like, I asked the guy, oh, here's what happened. So he walked up to the bar and asked for 2 Mai Tais to go. I was like, you can get them to go? And so we hit it off. And I was like, are you going to go to the John Barrowman thing? He's like, I'm his agent. I was like, really? Do tell. And he gave me a pass so I could sit in the front row. And
Oh my
it was like the coolest thing that happened for sure. But I saw some awesome cosplay. The Predator was probably my favorite. I walked right past the Predator and I was like, oh, wow. So it was a lot of fun. Made some good friends.
Awesome. Were you able to kind of promote your book at all? Or?
A little bit. But surprisingly enough, even in my costume with the whole mask and everything, I blended in.
Oh, right.
How many other people doing cosplay?
Awesome. Yeah. What other plans do you have? What's next for you?
Well, I'm still working on the book, and got some great ideas from Comic-Con, and I'm going to end up, I think, publishing each chapter as an issue. But have the whole book out hopefully by the end of the year, but we'll see. It depends on how much work I have to do to make money to pay my bills. But, you know, fingers crossed I'll have it done by Christmas.
Life of a starving artist.
Sorry?
Life of a starving artist.
Yes. I don't like that term, but when people use it, I'm like, you can buy me lunch, though.
Yeah.
And then I am also a stand-up comedian, so I'm writing some comedy. I'm working on a lot of new jokes about just what I've been through and what a superhero looks like. I may do it in costume. We'll see.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm working on stand-up comedy and selling artwork, and I've been busking even at the Santa Monica Pier. Oh, some of that was in the video, but the camera kind of scared people away, oddly enough.
Oh.
Yep.
So yeah, tell us more about the video. So tell us about the day you went out and you videoed and you got this awesome car and all this stuff. Just tell us all about that whole promotion event.
That was a lot of fun. So the car was actually another last minute idea. My mom was here for my birthday and spotted this yellow and Camaro with a black top, and she's like, that matches your costume. I was like, indeed it does. And a friend of mine had donated some money to fearmonster.org, which helped to pay for it. And I was like, done, Camaro. So I got some great shots ahead of time of me driving around in the car and stuff. And then that day I went down there in costume, and a friend of mine helped me find a cameraman on the cheap. That was great. And he did a great job. And so I was just out there giving out free hugs. And a lot of people in California do the free hugs thing. You know, this is not a new concept. But I don't know of anyone who's done it in a superhero outfit. So people were looking at me a little strangely, but then they caught on that I'm a harmless superhero. It was fun. The little kids are my favorite. So yeah.
All right. Well, so where all can people find you on the web?
Well, on Facebook, just facebook.com/Jillian Ratliff comedy, and then also at fearmonster.org. That's where all the comics are, and there's a link on pretty much every page to the Indiegogo campaign.
And we'll put one in this YouTube video as well.
Cool. Yeah, and the Indiegogo campaign is going on still, and I've got T-shirts for sale with George the Fear Monster, and my new character, who is in the book, not in the comics yet, but in the book, his name is Angel. He's the Angel of Death.
Oh, so wow.
He's the romantic love interest in the book, and it's all a dance between light and dark and working together. So imagine if Yoda and Darth Vader got along.
Intriguing.
They can do anything. So it's a lot of fun. He's a really cool character to work with, and based on a real person, one of my best friends, who he's so funny in real life, and most people don't get his sense of humor, but long before I announced the Sun Goddess thing. The last time I saw him, actually, he just asked me if I wanted a drink. I was like, sure, yeah, surprise me. He brings me out a sun-kissed. I was like, ha!
Oh, dear.
You know me so well. So just stuff like that. He's got a subtle, sarcastic sense of humor, but it's been really fun to write into the book. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so if any of you viewers want to go check Jillian out, she's all over the web, and just check out her Indiegogo campaign and help support this awesome book, graphic novel, and series that she's working on.
Yay! Thanks.
And thanks so much for interviewing with me today.
Yeah, it's good talking to you.
Yeah.
And I like your costume.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye.